Good morning. Welcome to One Baha'i, that regular show where I just sit back and share a few thoughts about the Baha'i faith. Today it's going to be a little different. I'm actually going to share a recipe. Why? Well, actually, just because a friend of mine asked if I could. But to connect it to the Baha'i faith, we fast. Once a year for 19 days, from sunrise to sunset, each of those 19 days, we do fast. And I find that a healthy diet is so important to healthy fasting. But also I find that in general a healthy diet is just a really good thing. So in my family, one of our favorite foods is granola. Now you can go to the grocery store and you can buy a bag of granola for about $6 to $10 depending on what you get. But it's a lot cheaper and a lot healthier to make it yourself. So here are some of our ingredients. I don't know if my son's going to show or not, but this is what we're doing. And what I'm going to do is explain the way that I do recipes, because I don't usually follow a recipe exactly. So the basis of this recipe is going to be 4 cups of oats. Now you'll notice that all of the ingredients are in the comments below. So we're using a good organic oat, because if you're going to use something, you might as well use good ingredients. 1, 2, and you'll notice I'm really careful about my measurements. Okay, the fact is I'm really not. This is all hit or miss. So I'm using about 4 cups of oats. Now the next thing on my recipe is 1.5 cups of seeds or nuts. And you can use anything you want. So I've got some sunflower seeds here. I'm just going to throw a handful into my cup. I have pumpkin seeds here. I'm going to throw a nice big handful into the cup there. I've got almonds. Oh, look, I spilled a few over. Now, you can take the almonds, you can crush them if you want. I just dump them all in. That was about a cup. I'm a huge fan of cashews, so I'm going to eat one. And I love quinoa. So I'm going to throw in precisely 718 quinoa seeds. So that was a bit more than 1.5 cups. That was about 2 cups. But generally less than half the amount of seeds or nuts to your oats. From here, you're going to mix in cinnamon. Well, I like cinnamon, so I'm going to put in precisely 1 teaspoon. Yeah, a little extra. And that is my base. I'm just going to stir it up to mix it. Nothing fancy. This is the beginning of my oatmeal. Now, not my oatmeal, my granola. The next thing is I'm going to add in my oil, my sweetener, and my vanilla. So earlier I took some coconut butter and I just melted it in the microwave. So this is 1/2 cup of oil, splorp. Scrape that all in. Where's my 1/2 cup? One moment. There's my 1/2 cup. Now for the sweetener, you can use white sugar, brown sugar, molasses, maple syrup, honey, whatever you feel like. I'm going to use maple syrup. There's some honey. I'm not going to use that one today. Not for any particular reason. I just feel like maple syrup. So a sweetener is a sweetener. And I like the flavor of the maple syrup, so I'm just going to use that one instead of anything else. One caution though, if you use, for example, molasses is a stronger flavor than most other flavors. So when I use molasses, I use 1/4 cup of a sweetener and 1/3 a cup of molasses. So again, in my recipe, it's just sweetener. So now you know what I'm talking about. Vanilla, precisely 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And you mix this all up. Everything should be coated. You don't want any dry pieces. And you know what? That is the extent of the recipe. I do have one other ingredient that I use, which is 6 cups of chocolate chips, but that's optional. No, I don't really use 6 cups. I might throw in a handful of chocolate chips every now and then just for fun. At this point, you can add in chocolate chips, you can add in dried fruit, you can add in whatever you want. This is just my basic. So here, bake 350 degrees. You bake it for 22 minutes. What I do is 10 to 12 minutes, take it out of the oven, mix it all around, put it back in for another 10 to 12 minutes. And that's it. Let it cool off, throw it in a bag, life is great. So I find healthy food is essential to a healthy life. This is not a Baha'i teaching per se. I think it's a teaching of humanity. And I see a lot of people eating a lot of junk. But what I just did here would cost me $20 if I went to buy it pre-made, whereas I think I spent less than $3 on all the ingredients. So when you learn how to cook well, you can do so much more in your life. How long did that take me? 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. My son would know because he's got the camera in front of him. But that's my recipe. I will probably make this about 2 or 3 times a week, and we're good to go. So thank you very much for joining me today. Hope this was useful. We'll talk soon.